Okay, and we're live. So it is International Tabletop Day, April 30th, 2016. I am Sam, and this is my YouTube channel, Chalice and Chains. Today we are playing with an international cast of characters, so I'm really happy about that. And we're playing Uncharted Worlds. So for anyone who doesn't know, Uncharted Worlds is space opera powered by the apocalypse. This will be my second time running it. So far, I love it. It is a sleek, wonderful system that really lends itself well to space opera. So today we're going to see really how the vehicle creation rules work in this game. I have titled this session Galaxy Burning. The galaxy is basically at war, and our players will be playing mechs or mech pilots on a mission to recover a specific object, one that is rumored to potentially have devastating effects if it falls into the wrong hands. So we're going to see how that's going to go. I am going to ask a series of questions. We're going to play to find out what happens. I don't have any pre-scripted idea of what we're going to encounter, so it's going to be improv, so it could be a total shit show. I hope not, but we're going to get started. So the galaxy is burning. All over the place, war is just devastating everybody. You can't escape it. Basically, you can either fight and hope that you live a little while, or run and you're going to get shot down. But the various factions are trying to figure this whole thing out. They're trying to continue their business with the galaxy basically just ravaged by war. One of those factions is Breckengraph, the group that is sort of the scientists, the genetic engineers of the universe, and they're exceptionally wealthy, influential scientific enterprise specializing in all things biological. And the rumor is that there is a research facility way out in the fringes of space that has developed, the rumor has it, a weapon or some sort of biological terror that can specifically target DNA. And so your various factions have employed you to either get this object for them or to destroy it. And I'll let you guys decide what that mission is going to be. But ultimately, the fear is that this could be used to assassinate a particular individual in a crowd of thousands of millions because it knows the DNA. So you guys have gone to this remote system, and you are now at this research facility or near this research facility, ready to complete this mission. So I'm going to let you guys introduce your characters. I'm going to start, Jesse, with you. If you want to introduce Haas, just a brief introduction, and then I'll ask you a couple of questions here.
You guys can call me Haas. It's what most people call me, people that I don't particularly care about. I'm one of Dodger's sons. That's my family. We're going to do what we need to do, what we've always done, to make sure that whatever the rest of you are doing doesn't affect us. We take care of our own.
All right. So you've come into the system through the atmosphere. You're now on the ground a certain distance from the research facility. Your heads-up display has given you the navigation coordinates, so you know the direction that you need to go. But what is some sort of hazardous terrain or some sort of hazard that your scanners have picked up that is kind of in the way that could cause trouble for you guys?
Well, the scanners are having problems getting through all this damn jungle. Their radiation pools are just wreaking havoc with it. I'm seeing hot spots where, as I get closer, I realize there's nothing actually there. So I'm moving forward, trying to figure out how to keep my sensors going and trying to get some sort of idea and making sure I'm actually going in the right direction.
Okay. And would you say is the sort of the radiation and all that kind of messing with your systems, or are you kind of sealed enough that so far anyway you're okay?
Internally, I'm fine. I keep running diagnostics. My suit's doing great. The only thing is the sensors say that they're doing great. When I get up to the thing, I can tell that something's wonky with them. So I got to go with the assumption that the suit as a whole is fine.
Okay, fantastic. And so, yeah, you're kind of staring through this dense jungle. You can see the sort of shimmering heat as you've come in on a very hot day, dense foliage all around you. Your sensors are picking up life forms moving around, which is somewhat surprising because of the radiation, but your intelligence reports, eh, for what they are for Dodger's Sons, haven't given you the indication that anything is particularly dangerous. And behind you, you can hear this sort of as Brother Leopold in his ginormous Mac comes stomping up behind you. No, no pretense of stealth or anything. And Frank, if you will introduce Brother Leopold for me real quick, that'd be great.
Yes, Brother Leopold is from Holy Order of the Harbingers of Peace. We are convinced that it is our duty to bring peace amongst the people in the galaxy. And as it sometimes takes a little bit force to bring peace, we developed quite highly advanced mechs to, well, force the people to recognize their peace and happiness. This is all for the greater good, of course. We firmly believe that. And I'm on this mission to ensure that especially innocents won't get harmed. So not only acquiring the artifact is of importance, but to minimize any loss in human lives is equally important.
Excellent. Thank you. And before you were sort of put on this mission, or kind of told, from your order to come here, what was a member or someone on this planet, part of this research facility, that you were either tasked with killing or with rescuing?
Well, actually, I'm supposed to get some of the lead scientists of this project under the fold of the Order, because the Order will make good use of their knowledge and their skills. I'm very convinced that this is for the greater good.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, and so you've been specifically given some intelligence that which was hard to get, but your order is kind of entrenched everywhere. So the fact that you know the name of the lead scientist, the head scientist of a Breckengraph, secret research facility, is pretty amazing. But you've been given the name Dr. Nishi Kenzu, and
okay.
Dr. Kenzu is a galaxy-renowned bioengineer. It's no wonder that he is kept in this secret research facility, because the other factions would pay dearly for his skills and his knowledge, as your faction will. But they would also generally not hesitate to kill him if they think someone else would be able to use his advantage. So yeah, you're particularly interested in making sure that he is able to survive this thing.
Yep.
And so your scanners are also kind of picking up the radiation signatures, heavy radiation in these areas, but you know that you could either kind of crash straight through the jungle and you're gonna, you'll get there on a direct course, or you guys can try to map out sort of another route to the research facility. You also have been given intelligence that the research facility is within the jungle itself. It is on a sort of halfway up a mountain. There's this like plateau, and it's kind of stuck against this cliff. The sort of aerial images that you guys have been given make it look very picturesque, but you're not sure if that's a propaganda photo or not. And as you're thinking about this and kind of this way of, how are you going to approach to this facility, the Great Katash comes up next to you in his mech as well. Actually, he is the mech. And if Matthew, if you'll go ahead and describe your character for us, that would be great.
Oh, okay. Well, the thing is, the Great Katash does not communicate directly with anyone. In fact, I'm not sure if he can even speak properly. So instead, he communicates through his disciples. So if you wanted me to be saying anything here, probably rather than the Great Katash itself, it would be Lyle, the leader of my disciples.
Okay. And
would probably enter the scene.
Is Lyle like a sort of a holographic avatar? Is it a human, like within the cockpit of the mech, or?
Are we on the ground right now?
Yes.
If I heard that right. In fact, he's probably on the ground as well then.
Okay.
We have a shuttle that they usually travel around in, but if we're only moving at sort of foot speed, I'm sure I'd like some time.
Sure. Okay. So would you imagine he is, he's sort of in like a sealed suit, kind of, following along next to you? Or whatever.
And I might be a bit confused about the situation at the moment. So we're walking through this sort of dangerous wilderness towards our destination.
Yeah, exactly.
In that case, if it's dangerous, it's probably just hanging out in, floating along inside the shuttle that the disciples used to follow me.
Okay, gotcha. Cool. So that's fine. And so I would imagine then that you guys communicate, electronically, whatever.
Yeah.
And okay, fantastic. And you actually were, when you were put on this mission, you were searching through the sort of the cortex, the data sphere, for any kind of information that you could get, any edge you could find, and you found that there was a particularly disturbing piece of technology or danger that the Breckengraph Corporation developed, and you weren't supposed to find this information, but you were able to stumble upon it. What is that danger or that particular threat?
Ooh. I think if it's a threat I'm particularly worried about, how about one of their fail-safes, if there is to be some kind of infiltration or accident or something just escapes this facility, is some kind of enormous EMP blast that they basically fill the entire base with, so that if anyone had any plans of escape, suddenly that won't work.
Awesome. Yeah, that sounds great.
Naturally, they've probably got like actual physical gates as well, just so it doesn't completely screw over their own security.
Yeah, definitely. And remind me, guys, did you all take some sort of jump jets or boosters or something along those lines?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I did.
Okay. So let's see. Haas, since you're the sort of stealthiest character, why don't you kind of decide how you guys are going to approach the facility? You know that if you were to travel straight through the jungle, it'll take a couple hours and you're going to have to go up a mountain. Right now, your scanners are not picking up any kind of danger, any kind of signatures, anything like that.
Frank, how big is your mech?
Well, I guess about 20 meters. That would be in yards. Oh my, 25 yards maybe.
Right, it's massive. Well, I know that they have the docking station around the back of the mountain where they actually land the large craft to bring in the supplies. That might be our best route. It's under a lot of cover, under radar chafe that gets constantly fired up. So we could probably get back there, and the inside's going to be big enough for your big ass to get in there and not get stuck in one of the corridors.
Well, my order took care to select one of the smallest mechs we have available. Yes, so I guess our stealthy approach will work.
All right, so let me start leapfrogging a couple clicks up, and I'll send encoded pulse messages, burst messages back, so you guys know where to follow. Sound good?
Very well.
You probably hear like a great deal of electronic beeping and general noises over the comms. And then Lyle chimes in and basically says, the Great Kadash agrees with your assessment.
Much obliged. All right, so I start jump jetting ahead in zigzag pattern, pausing periodically, staying in stealth, and like I said earlier, trying to make sure that I'm getting as decent a sensor reading as possible. And every clearing, or every spot that I get to that's secure, I send back an encoded burst telling them the coordinates for them to start moving there.
Great. Yeah, and you do that, and you don't encounter any active opposition. There are a couple of times in which you see these creatures, some very, very large. I mean, not as large as the mechs that you're in, but probably standing on on all four quadrupedal creatures, probably standing 5 or 6 feet high. Massive, just ugly, deformed looking things, which isn't all that surprising considering the amount of radiation that is emanating from this jungle. But yeah, you manage to get to the mountain without any active opposition, and you realize that where you're at now, you'll have to kind of scale around the backside of the mountain, and the jungle thins out a little bit, but you're going to have to traverse a toxic pool. And this is a pool that if you aren't able to fly over it in some way, it's going to take a little bit of time to get around it. It will be somewhat difficult to sort of get around it. But you guys see that, and how are you going to kind of deal with this obstacle?
Just to clarify, when you say it's toxic, would that be dangerous at all to machines or only to people?
Yeah, so your scanners are picking up these sort of massive radiation signatures. This is a sort of nasty, toxic pool that you think would probably fry your circuits pretty quick.
Okay, okay.
Well, walk around it. Some time, but are we in a hurry? No. So let's take our time.
Makes sense. So you said the jungle thins out, but there's this huge pool, swamp-like thing in front of us. What's around in the direction we have to keep skirting?
Yeah, so you actually realize that this pool, at second glance, really doesn't look like it was a natural structure. This looks like it was kind of dug here. So this looks like it might be a natural defense built toward, to kind of protect the rear of the facility. But the jungle's a little bit more thinned out around this area. There's a lot of sort of dead foliage and whatever. So you could skirt around the pool on one side and kind of the beginnings, the foothills, so to speak, of the mountain as it starts to, get higher and higher. And what would happen is if you kind of follow it along that course, you're basically going to get to a point right below the plateau, which would be probably about 100 to 200 feet above you, where the sort of landing platform is that you mentioned. And you would know from your scanners that the way that this facility is built, the landing platform is actually not on the same level as the actual research facility, but most of the research facility is buried within the mountain. So you know that. And again, you don't sense any kind of active opposition down here.
At what point do we get into the kill zone, though?
So that's a good question. You, with all your scanners, what specifically are you looking for when you're using your scanners? Are you just looking for any sense of danger whatsoever? Biological entities,
Biological entities as well as power sources that could be indicative of any sort of shielding, automated defenses, that sort of stuff.
Okay.
So I'm not looking for poison gas types of things.
Right.
We're mammal or electronic.
Right. Okay. Let's see. So go. You know what? If you can, go ahead and roll assessment for me. Because I feel like this is an active scan. And so I guess you'd use interface.
Trying to get my dice bag open.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, and by the way, you guys can feel free to use real dice, or you can use the Dice Stream app if you want,
yeah.
either way.
Dice Stream's easier.
Yeah, but it tends to screw you over hard, but in this game that can be fun.
Oh, yeah.
So it's 2d6 plus the interface, correct?
Yep.
So... Okay, did it roll anywhere? Oh, there we go. So 9 plus 1.
Okay. So as you're kind of scanning, right? You don't get any active biological entities down here, but you do realize that there are 2 large point defense cannons flanking either side of the air, the landing pad. Basically, it's for aerial defense, right? If a ship is coming down and something were coming after it, that's its main goal. But you ascertain it could probably be, maneuvered to shoot at you. You also do sense there are some biological entities up on the platform, but you don't sense any large mechanical structures or anything that you would think is a threat, other than potentially those biological entities.
Or the 2 giant walking tanks behind me.
Yeah.
Gentlemen,
Well, what do you think? Should we take out those cannons?
You certainly could. You could attempt it anyway. That would definitely give away your presence, but...
Yeah, I'm asking our expert. So, Mr. Hoss, as the resident expert on stealth, should we take out those cannons?
If I get close enough, I can take them out quietly. The question is, how do we get past this giant goop in front of us?
Walking around it, or maybe you could fly over it. Actually, I'd like to research a little bit what's it made of. I'd like to take a sample and take a look what my chemical sensors give me as a result. I'd like to get a thorough assessment of how dangerous it would be to our mechs.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, you guys have kind of traversed most of it. So for anyone that doesn't have jump jets, the basic obstacle at this point is figuring out how to get up to the plateau. But yes, Brother Leopold, to your point, you scoop up a sample and go ahead and make an assessment roll for me as well. I think probably, well, are you using sort of a computer database or kind of your own maybe knowledge of science and chemical properties and all that?
My scientific knowledge. I'm a medical expert and, a scientist, of course, because no one kills as efficiently as a scientist.
Indeed. All right, then go ahead and make an assessment roll using expertise for me, please.
Okay, let's see. This is 6.
6, okay. So you kind of, with the massive hands, on your mech, you kind of dip this pretty large vial, because it kind of has to be to fit in those hands, into this pool, and you can see this liquid just kind of like bubbling and smoking as it's in this pool, and you realize that you get some of it on the hand part as well as in the vial, and you kind of cork the vial here or whatever, and you're sort of looking at it, and you start to see it slowly start to erode the metal on your mech. Now you kind of ascertain that this is not something that is an immediate danger in this small amount, but over time that will breach a hole into your mech. So to the metal components, this is almost acidic.
Okay, so this liquid has breaching power, so we better not get into contact with this.
Yeah, and it is still, again, unless you can figure out a way to kind of deal with it, it will slowly kind of burn through you.
This is not a problem. There's some kind of vegetation in nearby, I think. So grabbing some bushes, some trees, and wiping it off as good as I can, so it won't deteriorate my hand armor further.
Okay. Yeah, fantastic. And you do that, and you notice that it does not seem to affect the organic matter in the same way that it's affecting your metal. It does seem like the plant matter is affected in a negative way, but it's not an acidic property on that. So
Are there enough trees for us to start building a raft for them?
sure. But remember, you don't have to necessarily cross this stream or this pool. You guys were skirting around it. So depending on what you want to do, yes, you can certainly do that. But if you're trying to get up to the facility or the landing pad, your actual obstacle is getting up the side of the mountain.
It could be that this pool is a defense mechanism for a second entrance into the whole facility. Maybe on the ground there's a hatch to enter the facility, or better, to leave the facility, like a kind of emergency exit. So maybe we could work out how to make one of you guys immune to this effect and take a dive.
I love that.
Huh. I hear what you're coming from. My mech arms start doing this. But no, not me. But hey, the great and mighty Katesh, you're pretty mighty. You seem like you're
No.
good for this.
Dash is backing away as quickly as he can, because for you guys it sucks because your mechs get damaged. For me, it sucks because I get physically hurt.
Yeah. So
yes.
I don't think you're getting any volunteers.
But personal sacrifice is a cleansing action, so it's always to prefer. So you're suggesting you'd like to sacrifice for a cause. This is commendable. Please go ahead. But the more rational course of action would be the smallest mech goes in there, and we prepare some kind of plant material cover for this, like a kind of diving suit.
You're 75 feet tall. That's an awfully big diving suit.
I don't volunteer to dive. I just volunteered you to dive.
How wide across is this?
How wide is the pool? The pool is probably, I don't know, 100 feet across.
Oh, so jump jettable.
Oh yeah, you could very easily jump over it. You guys could very easily use your jump jets to get up to the landing pad. You can't do that stealthily. But
so the way I'm seeing it, we're here. The pool is here. There's some terrain. There are the cannons. There's the start of the hill, and then up here is the landing pad and the entryway for the big guys. Is that right?
Almost, not exactly. So picture it this way. So like the pool is like right here.
Okay.
You guys are standing like right next to it.
Right.
And between the pool, you have the pool on one side and you have the cliff face on the other. Okay? And there's jungle all around you. The cliff face has a plateau. On that plateau is the landing pad, and on either side of the landing pad are the aerial defense cannons. Right now they don't appear to be active, but no, the only immediate sort of danger or terrain feature on your level is this pool.
Okay, that sort of changes things.
Yep, diving suit it is.
Yeah, not happening. The Great Katesh and I can make it over and up, no problem. There's no reason for us to dive. How, Brother Leopold? Let's assume that the pool wasn't here. How can you scale up a surface like this?
Oh well, I simply get to the base of the cliff, and then start plunging in with foot hooks and my hands. So I would climb it, but the pool, well, I simply walk around it.
How far around is it?
Oh, the pool, I mean, so it's sort of this oval shape. You can't tell right now unless you were to maybe try to do some kind of active scan, but the pool continues on in the distance for as far as you can see, and then because there's terrain and jungle and whatever. So,
Brother Leopold, how far do you think you could get with a running jump?
I think about 8 meters, so about 9 or 10 yards. This Friedenspanzer 2A is not a running model.
I'm sensing that.
We could give him a boost.
Oh, yeah, that might work. If both of you use your boosters on overload, you could simply grab me and boost me with you.
It's a good idea. Give it a shot.
You're the heaviest by far, aren't you?
yeah, he would definitely be the heaviest.
Yeah.
So
It
can
might
I make a suggestion? Great Katesh, great idea, living up to your name. Why don't we grab him, run, jump, kick in the jets. As soon as he gets close, Brother Leopold, why don't you fire off those anchors to connect up? And Katesh, you and I will let go and keep using our jump jets to spring up the side of the mountain. Leopold, we'll see you up there.
Okay, let's do this.
All right. Now, because that is not necessarily the easiest thing to do, what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have one of you guys roll face adversity. I imagine the other one will want to roll get involved to kind of help with that. We'll see how that goes, and then we'll let Brother Leopold, kind of determine what goes from there. So, I don't know, Huss. Do you want to go do the face adversity?
What stat?
And in this case, use physique.
All right, I have no bonus in physique, but just out of curiosity, would we say that this is a reckless move?
Yes, we would.
I would think so.
So this is, I would say, a needlessly risky move where the odds are, would you say, 1,000,000 to 1?
I would.
All right, well, I guess we know what I'm going to be rolling.
Yep. So you'll roll your d6 then?
Yup. Oh, God, here we go. Oh God!
Oh.
Oh, say goodbye to Leopold.
All right.
Oh,
So
wait a minute. Wait a minute. Does the can he still get involved?
I don't know how you do that with Reckless.
I don't either.
Uh, yeah, it depends. What kind of result would be increased by getting involved?
Well, seeing as this was a spectacularly awful failure with harsh consequences, um,
Maybe I can try as a separate move to attempt to save you after you find out what happens.
yeah,
Yeah.
why don't we do that? I actually have to take a really quick break here, guys. I'm sorry. I'll be right back. But yeah, think about what you guys might do here because this could be really bad. I'll be just a second.
did anyone take Time Machine as one of their things?
Yeah. Well,
Ah, no, sorry. Thought about it.
I guess diving suit it is anyway.
Well, it's just diving at this stage. We don't seem to have the suit.
Yeah. So while you're plunging into the pool, you could take a look if there's a hatch.
Well, the spectacularly obviously at least one of us is going in the thing, um, and the fact that it's
That was a pretty
spectacularly
bad failure. It could be all of us.
well, that's my
Yeah.
concern. I'll be right back and get some chips.
Well, those were fun characters while they lasted.
Yeah, but while we are still falling, how about firing hullbusters into the pool so that it might splash around and we don't get the full extent of this liquid here?
I guess we could try that.
Hmm?
I guess we
You
could
know,
try that. I have a
the
plasma
order
gun,
always
actually.
says if in doubt, use violence. But violence often helps.
Yes, the Katasha approves of this message.
Do you think that there's an underground grate that we could sink down to and get in?
Yeah, well, if we are firing our breaching hull bus forwards, maybe the liquid gets evaporated or splashes out enough to see if there might be some kind of hatch. And if there is a hatch, we will breach it and simply drop into it. And have faith, it will all work out well.
He tells the guy who just rolled a 1.
Yep. I mean, if you are planning on trying to evaporate the liquid, I do have a plasma gun, so that might work out pretty well there.
Yeah. So they are hot and
That'll work.
breaching. I have hull busters that are breaching too, so that might work.
I don't think I've actually ever seen a reckless roll be anything other than a 1 or a 6. It's weird luck. It's always like the worst idea in the world ends up rolling a 6. And then, well, I mean, okay, actually, this is the reckless move we're talking about, so they're all the worst idea in the world.
Yeah, actually, dice stream does tend to give low results. So basically, rolling high on dice stream is reckless anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but what's the worst that could happen? Our mechs get shredded and dissolved, and we need to get out of the mechs and take our close combat knives and stab everyone in this facility down. So, well,
But Brother Leopold, I can't get out of my mech. I am my mech.
okay, we
My
might
disciples will
download
just have to live on without me.
we might download your AI on a tablet and take you with us.
Or I'll continue to pretend to be the Lord and Authority in the situation.
There's always an option.
All right, terribly sorry, guys. My kid rolled a 6- on his sleep check, so he is now back asleep. So I guess where I left off, the question was whether can get involved help with this reckless maneuver. And I'm actually going to say yes. I think that in this case, you can see what might happen, but go ahead and describe before we do that just exactly what it was you were trying to do and how did it go terribly wrong. I'm going to let you decide how it goes terribly wrong in this case.
Me?
Mm-hmm. I'll do it if you want me to, but
No.
yeah.
Wrong would be easy to describe. Terribly wrong. As we grab and start the run up, something catches under my foot, which then takes me underneath Brother Leopold's feet, which then takes both of us under the great Katesh's feet, which turn us all into this rolling mecha snowball that then goes kerplop into the pool.
Okay, and so right before you guys are about to go kerplop into the pool, the Great Katesh, if you want, you can try to get involved to sort of maybe mitigate the circumstances a little bit in this case.
I'm thinking what I'll probably do.
We did come up with a perfect solution.
Okay. What
you
is
say
it?
Perfect.
Well, actually, let's see how the dice roll turns out first, and then.
Okay, my idea is that I would pull out my sword and just try to stick it in the ground as like a break.
Okay.
Hopefully before we reach the pool.
That was the not so perfect solution. My perfect solution was firing into the pool in order to evaporate the liquid there and maybe even breach a probable hatch down there. So firing what I got into the pool.
The problem is that we've got rocket launchers.
Yeah, why not?
Well, what I'm going to say is since the Great Katesh is the one getting involved, I'm going to let him do his action first, and then Brother Leopold, I'll let you do the same. Actually, you can do a get involved move as well. So if you want to fire, certainly. But we'll have the Great Katesh go first and see what happens there.
Okay.
Right. Do you want me to roll in real life or use the?
Yeah, it's either way, whatever you prefer.
Is there a way of adding modifiers to the?
No, unfortunately not with Dice Stream.
Okay. What skill do you think that would be?
So I would say physique in this case, since you're trying to slam your sword into the ground.
All right. Yep. My physique's +2, so that's 10.
Perfect.
Or 11.
10. Yeah. Well, or okay.
Oh, is that displaying for everyone?
I can't see it, but it's because you don't have your camera, so we won't be able to see it. But that's fine. I'll
Okay. It's a 4 and a 5.
Okay. So that's the base roll. All right, 9. So 11 really with the modifier. All right, perfect. So you managed to stop all three of you guys from falling into this pool. And in fact, what happens is, Brother Leopold, you land right on the edge of the pool. But the way you do it, it's almost like this barrel roll kind of thing, and you jerk a little bit. And because you're so big, your legs actually kick Haas into the pool.
Oh my.
Yep.
Okay.
It was Well, I guess that's...
That is very brave of him. I'm calling you. So now dive. Look for a hatch. Quick.
Yeah, so you're like, ah! So,
Perfect
Haas,
opportunity.
you're now in this, this burning sort of acidic pool, and the last thing that you hear over your sort of comm unit is, well, basically, well, now that you're in the pool, dive down and see if you can find a hatch. What do
Yeah.
you do?
I send one ping and one ping only to see if I can see if there's a hatch. And if I even partially think that there isn't, I'm hitting the jump jets to clear the thing.
Yeah, so go ahead and roll assessment with interface, because this is a highly fraught situation. I don't know that you're going to have to act real quick here.
Yeah. Plus interface, so
Yep.
2d6 plus 1. Oh, are you kidding me? I rolled a 2. Oh, sorry, I rolled a 5.
Okay.
The 5 includes the plus 1.
All right. So, man.
Well, I
So
don't know what
you-
its problem with you is, but the dice set works perfectly fine for me.
Do you remember how much better I did last time?
Yeah, so the way Dice Stream works is that it will either give you a bunch of good rolls or a bunch of bad rolls. So we'll see. So hopefully you have the good ones. Yeah, so as you're kind of, submerging into this pool, you go to scan to just see if there's anything in here, see if there's any simple, quick way out. And unfortunately, you realize that no, in fact, this is a little bit worse than you thought. This pool is very deep, but there are also currents, and these currents are trying to drag you down. And so, yeah, if you want to go ahead and fire your jump jets, go ahead and do that, but you're going to have to face adversity on that one, because this is pretty damn tough. And because characters don't normally play as vehicles, I'm going to use the character stats. So unless you guys think differently, I think it would be plus physique.
All right, so I've got a 0 there. So 7.
Okay. So you manage to, punch in the keys and, pull the and all of a sudden your thrusters are pushing you back up, and you're fighting the current, and you realize that this is taxing the system quite a bit, because despite the fact that you're in water and while your jump jets are sealed, you're basically, your mech is being sort of eaten alive, and you manage to kind of out, and you land on the ground. But as you do that, your jets short out. So your jump jets are no longer functional at this point, but you are out of danger, at least for the moment. Although you're still covered in this acidic nastiness.
Yeah, I'll take care of this. I get some more plant material and simply wrap this stuff down and take a look at the shorted out jump jets. Are they repairable with field tools?
Yeah, I mean, you would think given enough time, you could probably repair the jump jets. But it would, it's going to take a little bit of time. You're going to have to, actively work on that if you want to do that.
Okay. So for the moment, we don't have this time, or do we?
As of right now, you, in the immediate moment, you don't know. If you start looking around, you guys realize that you made some noise here, right? And you don't know, though. It doesn't appear that anybody's sort of been clued into your presence yet.
I suggest we retreat a little bit into the plant cover, and the Great Kadesh might be on the lookout for any guards or anyone who might have noticed us and take the time to repair those boosters.
I was thinking actually this would be probably a pretty good job for my crew. They are stealthy informants.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so that's fine. In fact, so what do you guys want to do? Do you want to kind of go and try to hide in cover a little bit, and in a place where the crew can start working to repair the jump jets? Or were you thinking something else?
I think that's probably the best bet, seeing as none of us took a class 2 time machine.
Okay, so that's fine. And so so you guys retreat kind of back into the dense jungle, kind of clear the way out. Leopold kind of smashes some small trees out of the way to make room, and you kind of hunker down, and the crew kind of comes out in their sealed suits, and they're trying to work on the jump jets. Would one of you guys be kind of keeping an eye out, scanning? Like, what does it kind of look like?
Well, I'd have my scan because the scan wasn't affected by this.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I'm better at repairing things than scanning.
Okay. So maybe you're overseeing and assisting the repairs as well?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's fine. And Katesh, what are you doing at this point?
Right, I'm thinking, would it be possible for people to get into this base sneakily if they were good at that sort of thing?
Yeah, potentially. Sure.
I think that's probably what I'm thinking then. So I'll probably be helping out on the lookout myself, but I'll be ordering my crew to try and infiltrate this base to see if we can get a bit of information.
Okay.
See if maybe there are some other entrances.
Okay, sure. And how big would your crew be, do you think? Like 3 to 4 people?
Maybe more like 5 to 6.
Okay. So that's fine. What we'll say then is that your crew wouldn't necessarily be trained infiltration specialists. I would imagine that they might be more sort of technical experts, stuff like that. So
hang on.
certainly,
When I say crew, I don't mean like mech crew. I mean the mechanic crew in the game.
Right. Yep. Exactly.
The way they're actually put together is they're loyal, stealthy informants.
Okay. All right. Yep. Perfect. So
they're basically my way of interacting with the human world because as a giant robot, I can't really do that very well.
Yeah, I gotcha. So that makes sense. So yeah, you've got a couple of them back there. Repairing Haas.
I'm sure some of them are helping out.
Yeah. Okay, great. So you guys are all assisting, and you guys realize with all of you helping and with the mechanical crew, it's not going to take a tremendous amount of time that you will be able to repair them. But your crew does go out, and they're kind of trying to be stealthy and search the area, see if there's any way that they can ascertain how they're going to get in. And in fact, go ahead and make an assessment roll for me. You can use your own stats. So you make an assessment roll using expertise.
Oh.
Well,
okay.
unless you think a different skill
I was
would make
hoping
more
influence
sense.
because I figured it would be command. But...
Influence. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I sure we could do that.
All right. Okay. Cool. Expertise is my worst stat.
I gotcha.
It's perhaps ironic for a machine. That's 9. Rolled a 7
okay.
plus 2 is a 9.
Okay, so you hear back on the scans, or not on the scans. Sorry, on your comm. It's like we may have found another way in, but it's a small access tunnel. You guys wouldn't be able to get in, but we could probably get in given enough time. But I think, and then you hear, and the comms go dead. Not because you don't get the impression that they have been destroyed, but your crew is otherwise occupied.
Right. Yes. Okay. I guess we'll find out what happened later.
And they say, "Good Lord." Yep. So you hear that, and you're the mechanical crew, because you guys are all tied into the same comm system. They hear it too, and they kind of look up at you, and they're like, "Sir, what are your orders?" To you, Katesh.
Um,
They're still in
I
the
think
middle of repairing.
for now we'll wait. They can take care of themselves. We'll have to fix these jump jets before we go in to rescue them.
Okay. So you guys do that, and as that's happening, Haas, your scanner starts picking up life forms kind of coming towards your direction. It picks up about 5 or 6 biological entities, heat signatures. They don't appear to have a vehicle or anything.
I should have kept reconnaissance as being wilderness instead of urban.
I know. Well, hey, you're the one who set us in a jungle setting, so
Yep.
yeah.
No, I know, my fault. I'm sorry. How many biologicals do I think that I'm sent?
There was half a dozen.
Heads up, folks. We've got incoming bogeys. About half a dozen coming in from south, southwest.
Okay. I think we should take care of this. What do you suggest?
I get my hull buster that I lovingly call Betty, locked and loaded while these
Wait, you guys
guys
both
are.
have hull busters?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right then.
Uh,
I wonder if we run into some holes to bust.
At this point, any combat that we get into this close to.
If you use your hull busters, we can abandon all hope of a stealthy approach.
I was just thinking
Yeah,
that.
I think so.
Any combat that we're going to get into. I mean, how far into the jungle are we?
I have a sword. Swords are somewhat stealthier than missiles.
Well, you guys are far enough in that you wouldn't be seen from sort of the path. Because remember, too, that these guys would have to be skirting around the same area that you were, although they may see the path that you cleared into the forest because, you kind of had to make a path for a 75-foot mech to get in there. So, but as of this
why again
very
did
moment,
we bring mechs on an infiltration mission?
Well,
well.
Brother Leopold certainly wants to infiltrate.
Yes.
You might have just been here to destroy this thing.
I actually don't know exactly what my mission is.
But as you have a sword, well, maybe use it. Makes less noise than a hull buster.
I re-sling the Betty, and I rack up the Shuriken Pulse Blaster.
Okay. So you kind of prepare, locked and loaded. You guys are sort of tensed, ready maybe for combat to happen, and you can kind of hear these voices, although they sound very muffled. You can't make out the words, but they seem like and you can see on your scanners that they've basically stopped right in front of the entrance to where you would have, kind of pushed your way into the forest. But right now they're not entering. They've kind of taken a position outside. What do you do?
So how far are they from our encampment?
Not very far. They can't visually see you, but I mean, it would take them only a matter of seconds before they were on you.
Okay. How quick can I leave my mech and run over to them?
Let me ask you this: do you have as a character, do you have a sealed suit?
No, not sealed. I do have body armor.
Okay.
I need a sealed suit. I think that would be unhealthy not to have one. So this could be messy, yes.
Potentially, based on your scientific observation of the area that you're in, this pool is giving off this noxious gas, and while the noxious gas doesn't seem to affect your mechs, that seems to have been what was affecting the biological, sort of natural flora around you, and
Yeah,
not in
so
a
it's
good
Okay,
way.
almost certainly poisonous of some kind.
then I think talking to them is an option. Okay.
I mean, you could talk to them. You maybe don't leave your mech, but you know, but it's up to you. And at this
And
point, you
yeah,
guys,
yeah. Actually,
go ahead.
I walk over to them in my mech. Yeah.
Okay. So you go,
Oh, I definitely follow him then.
okay. And so the repair crew says that they're going to need about 5 more minutes to get the jump jets repaired. But you guys walk out, and as you do, you see these large, not creatures, but humanoid figures in full sealed, combat armor. They're about 8 feet tall. Now, this is not like a mech suit, like a mobile suit. No, these are like actual figures that are just about 8 feet tall, wearing this, and you can kind of see the symbol now on their armor. These are definitely Breckengraph operatives. They are holding plasma pistols, and they're holding actually. In one hand, you see this, like, one of them's holding this grenade. Another one seems to be holding a comm unit, and a couple of them seem to have these like big, heavy, almost riot shields. And as you come out, they look at you, through their sort of sealed units, and they all kind of, point their guns at you, but they don't quite open fire yet. What do you do?
So they wouldn't see me.
No,
About how many of them does it look like?
I'm
there's 6 of them.
opening a channel to them, or using some kind of outside speakers. Hello there. We are testing the security system. We are ordered to approach in this vector. We had some unplanned unplanned interaction with the local life forms. Could you please direct us to the repair hangar?
Yeah, you're definitely going to have to face adversity on that one, with influence, because you can tell these are highly trained operatives. So if you want to try to bluff them.
Yeah, and
Yep.
I do suck at influence, but let's see what the dice give me.
Oh,
So
this is my best stat, but I don't think I can talk at the moment because my mouth is currently
I
indisposed.
only have a 7.
Okay.
I only have a 7, so that would be not good.
All right. So let me see. How do I want to do this? All right. So you say that, and they kind of look at you, and one of them, who's kind of looks to be a leader, he's got a patch on his shoulder, looks to another one and says something, and the other one gets on, he kind of moves off a little bit, and then this other one looks to you and kind of opens communication channel to you and says, "We must, what credentials do you have? Who do you work for here? Who sent you on this mission?"
I suddenly see this Han Solo. We got reports of blaster fire down there. We had a reactor. We're locking it down. How are you doing?
Yeah, everything's fine here. How are you doing? Yeah.
We were sent by Triple R Security. It's a dependence of Breckengraph. To actually not getting involved by any kind of external services, and they have plausible deniability if we screw up something. You know how this works. Actually, our actual credentials, I may invite you to come into my mech if you like.
And You can't necessarily see through the face mask of his of this person's armor or his or her armor. You don't know, but the communication that comes back to you is negative. Stay where you are. Send us a beam of your credentials, and we'll check it out. And as he says that, you guys on your scans pick up new figures coming in. But these are not biological, or at least there is a small biological signature. These seem to be mechanical devices, and there are 2 of them coming in.
Right, so
On
probably
your
vehicles
scanners. Yeah.
of some kind.
Sam, did you see my message?
Yeah. Yep. No problem.
I think in some kind of like private communication, Lyle would basically say that the Katash thinks we've done enough talking. Perhaps we should deal with them now before they become more numerous.
Yeah, okay.
And then he puts his hand on the hilt of his energy sword.
Yeah. Sending my credentials. I'm sending them digital garbage.
Okay. Just as a way to sort of confuse them, or are you trying to kind of overload them with information?
Oh, I tried to confuse them so they to gather a little bit more time.
Okay. So yeah, you're like, sending over the credentials now, and you can kind of see the one figure kind of go rigid, which you would know these guys as biologicals would have implants, like a mind kind of implant that would help them receive information and access information. You guys would have them too, as at least your pilots would. But so you can tell that he's like accessing the information, and that it's a lot of information, and he's trying to sift through it. And you can see his body tense, and then his gun was kind of held up like this, and then he realizes what's going on, and you can see him for almost a moment lower his weapon, but he's got a plasma pistol, and he's not quite sure how this is going to work against you. And I think from at that point you hear a and from behind you realize that your companion Haas is firing at these guys.
Oh,
I take that, Jesse, as pew 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 means that, right? Okay.
Rapid fire, penetrating, close range, basically laser shuriken firing out at these guys.
Alrighty. And are you kind of like like firing on the run, gonna get into cover, or are you just kind of just charging at them? Do.
Neither. I suddenly show up behind them and open fire at their backs.
Okay. All right. Then I would say, and this is where it's fun. So I'm gonna say open fire only because I feel like open fire is the shooting move.
Yeah. Now the question is, do I want to use fucking dice stream again, or do I want to actually roll real dice?
I think usually, at least the way I do it, open fire I only use if they're in a position to shoot back, which they might not be.
Yeah. So then, what would you say? Launch assault at this point, or more like face adversity?
Oh no, it'd be. Well, it kind of depends. Like if it was feasible for him to just like kill them all before they could even shoot back, then it would just be face adversity. This is how I'd roll it, at least. Or if.
And it's not necessarily, because these guys are in full combat armor.
Yeah, I suppose they are, aren't they?
Yeah, so
yeah, I guess open fire
in
makes
this
sense,
case,
then.
if it's not necessarily an extended firefight, then I think you might be right. I think it might actually be launch assault. So same thing, do launch assault, but with metal.
I'd like to get involved in moving so that the opponents will have the toxic pool in their back and be a much easier target.
Okay. Yeah, so you're kind of like moving in a way that they're going to have to back up, or they're going to get run over by you in a sense, and that would back them into the pool or near the pool.
I'm rolling a 4 and 2, and then the +2 metal.
Okay, so you got an 8. Okay.
Next time we're using roll 20. I like that dice rolling mechanism better.
Roll 20. All right. Yeah, my problem is that my system, when I'm running a game, can't handle both Hangouts and Roll 20 very well. So,
Really?
yeah, I like it, but I gotta get a better system. All right, so Brother Leopold, go ahead and roll your get involved. I guess
What do
it's
you use?
well. So, would you say that it is more of like a you're sort of using your bulk to kind of force them back,
Yeah.
or something else? Yeah, if that's the case, I would say physique.
Okay. So rolling it. This is 9.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So you do then. You guys actually turn that into a complete success. So yeah, you're kind of like charging them in, and they're
Say that
back.
again. Your stream's breaking up.
Oh, sorry. So that was a partial success that is now turned into a complete success. So go ahead and describe how you effectively neutralize these guys, Haas.
Open fire from behind. Just kind of come out of stealth with the shuriken blast up and just kind of spray all the way across, right at about neck level. And the shuriken have penetrating, so it just goes right through the thin part of their armor, decapitating the whole row of them. Then they fall like dominoes. Heads roll off, and bodies all fall on top of each other.
Awesome.
Jesus.
And as you see this sort of cascade of carnage, so to speak, it's at that point that you see these two just raggedy kind of, busted-looking mechs, although you would be embarrassed to call them that, kind of come onto the show. And these actually look like, more like they were worker mechs. These things are actually not sealed units, but you see that their pilots are wearing sealed suits, and they have basically like a plasma torch on them. So these look like they might be worker mechs, but they've basically been called in for backup, and
So are
they
they
are
like
now coming
Ripley
in to
thing?
engage you. What's that?
Are they like the thing Ripley wore in Alien?
No, well, so think of it almost like in, in Avatar, like where the guy, jumps into that thing, but instead of a chain gun, they have like a, sort of a plasma cutting torch, but it can be used as a weapon.
Right. So they're not combat suits. They're
Right.
working suits.
Yeah. These are workers that have been sort of press ganged into backup because there's mechanicals here.
Well, they don't seem to have any ranged weapons.
Okay.
I haven't done anything in the
then
fight yet, so I think I'd like to just draw my sword.
Hellblast is coming up.
All right. Great. So, yeah. And so, Katash, you kind of draw your sword out. Are you going to sort of charge them, engage them, or are you going to kind of hold back and wait and see what your companions do?
I'm activating my jump jets and boosting right at them.
Oh, okay, great. So then, yeah, go ahead.
This is the equivalent of peasants challenging a king.
I gotcha. Nice. All right. Well, then in that case, go ahead and launch assault using physique.
And
All right,
don't
then.
forget to take one alive.
Hey.
We need one for questioning.
Oh, well, that's an issue because I just rolled a 10.
Well, no, I mean you don't have to kill them.
One could survive.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can describe essentially, kind of how you. Well, so go ahead and describe what it looks like there. Are you kind of taking on two at once, or just going for
That
one?
was the plan, yeah. Take
Yeah.
them both if they're reasonably close to each other.
All right. So go ahead and narrate your sort of opening move for me.
I think I just activate my jump jets and just boost off towards them as quickly as I can. Sort of using them like horizontally to just run faster.
Oh, okay, great. And then so as you do that, they're kind of standing right next to each other, right? And one of them is able to react quickly enough, right? And he sees you coming, and kind of he attempts to like blast you with his plasma blaster. but he's sort of off balance, but he's still kind of firing at you. So obviously, knowing that that you're going to be successful, what do you do in that case?
I think I just dodge that with just like the tiniest step out of the way as a charge.
Okay,
And then
as you charge.
yeah, and then if I'm close enough, then I put my hand on the hilt of the sword, activate it, draw it, and just slice him in half with one splash.
Why don't you lightsaber it, slash him in half, and reflect the blast back to take out the other guy?
Maybe the
Nice.
next guy.
Yeah, and so
Did you take the pilot alive?
There's one still alive, so maybe.
all right, yeah, and so the other one then, seeing that you've just heavily dismantled his companion very easily, starts backing up. You can, they don't really have like hands per se, but but they've got their mechanical arms, and he kind of puts them up in the air, as in surrender.
Cool. I think what I do then, I like kick off the carcass of the one I just killed. Still charge towards him, and maybe we get like a shot from like Katash's vision. So it's all like electronic, and there's all these like analyses and stuff going on around the sides. And it like some kind of like targeting array like draws a line through him in such a way that I could destroy and disable his mech without killing the guy inside.
Yeah, that's fine. Absolutely. Yeah, in fact, you would kind of assess his weak spot, and you would realize that you could plunge your sword right into the mechanical unit, well below the cockpit area, but right into a sort of containment core, and it would disable the mech.
Yep. And then I basically do that, just charge towards him, plunge my sword deep into his mechanics, and I guess sparks fly everywhere, and the whole thing shuts down but doesn't explode or anything.
Yeah, definitely.
And then I just raise my like mechanical face right up to his cockpit and like stare him down.
All right, yeah, and this guy inside is terrified, but just at that moment, all of you guys, your sensors start, the sort of danger sense, starts going off, bing, 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 and you can, you can almost audibly hear this, and if any of you guys looked up, you know that the point defense guns have now been activated. Now, from where you're at, you don't get the impression that they can hit you right now, but they are alerted to your presence, and you start hearing these klaxons. Brr, 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 brr.
Okay, there goes our stealth approach. So let's question the pilot, because if they have worker mechs here, they must have a kind of entrance where they could enter the station. So I'd like to know, where are those entrances?
Yeah, absolutely, and probably because the Great Katash can't actually physically speak to him. Yeah, you can ask him that, and he would mention that actually, if you go kind of around here, there is a service tunnel on this level that you can enter into the base of the.
That actually had been what I had been picturing. That the landing pad was on the ground. It was this massive sort of like in Hoth. Remember where they would fly out? That's what I was picturing as our way of being able to get the big guys to be able to walk in and not have to head up. You know what I mean?
and the way that it actually appears is that you will have to head up, but you're going to be underground at this point. You'll be within the facility,
right?
And you'd be able to kind of head up to that next level if you need to. But so that's what he's told you. So what do you guys want to do?
How did they get past the river or the pool?
They came out of this entrance. Yep.
Oh, so this is a way around then.
Yeah, so essentially, like, what you guys were looking at is, like, directly above you on this plateau is the sort of landing pad, and then you can't necessarily see that far ahead of you on your own level because of the foliage, but what you now know is that if you were to go through and around the bend, there is actually a service tunnel on your level that you can access to go into the facility.
Okay, Kadesh, do you could obtain some kind of security clearance codes from the worker mechs? I don't know if this helps a lot, but it might help a little, although they have currently some kind of alert status there.
Right. Now, you might be assuming that as a computer, Katash would be good with computers.
Oh yeah.
And unfortunately, if you are assuming that, you're assuming wrong.
Oh, I'm a firm believer that you will make it, because I'm not that good with computers, and you're probably better than me.
If you want me to try, I certainly could.
I actually my suit has an interface for computers, and I've got a +1 to my interface stat.
Hey,
Part of my
wouldn't have thought about it.
part of my suit is specifically designed to be able to assist with that.
You know too though that I mean this guy is like terrified of you. So at this point he doesn't
Probably
want to
just
die because you could basically throw him in that pool and he would just die a horrible death. So you just ask him if you want.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the solution. Ask him about the security codes and what are those 8-foot high creatures here? Please
Yeah.
tell me about it.
Yeah, and so as you ask him that, he beams you over the security codes. He's like, yeah, no, just don't kill me, don't kill me. The soldiers, yeah, they're Breckengraph new soldiers, and you would know new soldiers are basically the results of just generations of genetic experimentation. They are paragons of obedience, standing over 8 feet tall. These things are stronger, faster, boundless stamina. These are the super soldiers in the galaxy. Breckengraph is well known for this type of sort of genetic manipulation, but they don't make it like these soldiers are not mercenaries. They're not hired out to other people. So you don't often get to see these guys. Usually if you do, it's right before you get killed.
Mhm.
Right.
They're not as tall as they were before they met up with us, though.
Yeah, not anymore.
Okay, so what do we do? I think we should let this poor worker guy go, because, well, we already killed some guys. I would have preferred to continue living, but yeah, but we must disable his communication abilities. So let's disable his suit a little bit so that his comm unit is not no longer functional.
Oh yeah,
So,
his suit's already destroyed. So yeah, there's no way.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
I meant his sealed suit. He might have
Oh,
some
his
kind
sealed
of.
suit. Oh, okay. That
I don't want
you
to breach it. I only want to destroy his communicator there.
okay? Yeah, you can just ask him to do it. Like disable your
Yeah.
communicator or destroy it. Yeah,
Okay.
and he does.
the
And
mechanics
then
at the point where I told him to stand down only needed a couple more minutes to fix the jump jet.
Hmm.
All right, so
okay.
while they're disabling the guy's comms, have them come over and finish this up so that they're working again.
Yeah, sure. And so that's fine. So as you guys are kind of interrogating the prisoner, they come over, they make the final preparations and repairs to your jump jets, and they kind of give you the sort of tap, the all good, and say, we did our best. We can't guarantee the quality, but it should at least get you somewhere.
Ringing endorsement indeed.
Yeah. Well, quick field repairs.
Can we take a quick 2-minute?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Actually, I might head off as well, just for a second.
Alrighty, so we'll see if you guys can make it out of this thing alive.
I still have two questions.
Yeah.
One for the captive and the other one in general. The general is, could I pick up one of those plasma torches from the worker mechs, or are they fixed to them?
They potentially yes, although the way that I understand the sort of heavy weapon rules for vehicles is that it's essentially like a two-handed weapon. So if I'm reading it correctly, your hullbuster would essentially be a large weapon that you'd have to use two-handed. Was
Yeah,
that how you read it, or were you thinking?
I was thinking about those missiles all over the outer hull from the mech. So they would simply open a plate and those missiles start shooting.
Okay. And I think in terms of flavor, that makes sense. Let me just take a look really quick.
I think mechanically speaking, like vehicle heavy weapons and handheld heavy weapons aren't actually any different. Whether you could interchange them is, I guess, left up to
Okay.
the DM and all
So,
that.
yeah, let me just take a look, because the way I read it here was, where is the assault mech? Okay.
Also, I think our idea of our mechs is like bigger than the actual
Yeah.
vehicle rules are generally intending.
Yeah. So that's fine. You know what? Yeah, why not? I think that would be fun. Yes, you can definitely pick up one of the plasma torches.
Okay, only to have some close combat thing and maybe to sabotage another thing in the station. So
Yep.
never let a tool go wasted.
Oh, absolutely. And what was the question that you had for the technician?
Yeah. So now that he will keep his life, he might cooperate. Do you know where Dr. Nishi Kanzu is situated in this facility?
He says, Dr. Kenzu, well, he'd be up in the main research lab. He pretty much never leaves. But and you can tell, like you can see in his eyes, there's genuine fear, and you're not quite sure if it's fear of you or fear of something else. But he's like, but even with this, and he kind of just like he's saying, even you, this huge metal monstrosity, don't want to go there. You don't. He's a man that, put it this way, Breckengraf won't let him out of this place without a fight.
Maybe we could convince them to let him take a holiday or so.
How
Hang on a
critical
minute.
is it for you to make it out with this guy, or is it a hey, that would be nice?
No, this is a main objective. Did you know about this?
Yeah, this is his holy kind of mission.
You could simply you could obtain a dangerous device. One thing that is only one a part of this, but if you obtain the brain behind the construction of this, it's more efficient.
Yeah, and Haas,
Makes a good point.
you being sort of an infiltration specialist, you were given what's known as like a data spike, and what this does basically is it allows you to basically brute force your way into a data system to obtain information. So with that, what kind of information were you asked to sort of get on this mission? Because apart from kind of destroying or obtaining this this bioweapon, what other specific information were you asked to get?
Well, I was asked to destroy it and any of the records in the system. Dodger's sons would like to keep a copy of it just as a backup. Of course, nobody needs to know that. I was also supposed to figure out if I could get into Breckengrath's financial system, loop back to it, and get any of their investment plans, that sort of stuff, as well as, if possible, and this is at the very bottom of the list, get into their public relations computer and see what sort of press release type things they have planned to release over the next few months.
Okay. Excellent. And so you guys now can tell on your scanners that the whole compound is basically coming alive, activating, initiating defensive procedures. So anyone who has a sort of any military or or even your sort of underhanded stealth training would know that basically if you stay where you are, you're going to be met with overwhelming force.
Yeah, but actually we are overwhelming force, so let's proceed.
Okay.
I think we need to get moving.
I love it. So are you planning on kind of going into the facility the way that these other people came out?
Yeah, why not?
Okay. Great.
I'd pop into stealth and start jump jetting ahead to try and get an idea of what's in front of us in terms of whether this overwhelming force is coming out to meet us.
Okay. So
in front of the guns?
Right. So yeah, you guys are fortunately in a position right now where you're not because they're mostly aerial defense. They can fire if you're at a certain distance, but where you're at now, those big guns cannot reach you. Yeah, so they weren't meant to be a ground defense.
Gun.
Right. Yeah, you won't. Those are not a threat.
Mr. Hoss,
I'm sure they have other defense.
Sorry, Brother Leopold, what was that?
Would you be so kind to disable the guns?
Would be glad to once we get close enough.
Well, you have repaired boosters. Go ahead.
Stealthiest option.
Well, except I'm not there anymore, remember? I've stealthed and leapt ahead.
Well, yeah, he can still, communicate with you over channels.
Or maybe he has to go into radio silence to maintain stealth.
Yes, yes, I agree. That's what's going on. We're in radio silence right now.
Like, negative. There's interference. I can't understand you.
I'm going into a mountain. You're breaking up.
Yeah.
Quite literally.
Well, and also, Brother Leopold, you would realize that this guy, as a infiltration specialist, doesn't necessarily need to, use rockets to disable those guns. He may have other ways of doing that.
Oh, I'm counting on this.
Oh, okay.
If I can get close enough to connect up to one of the computers, I can use sabotage to do a lot of fun.
Okay, but we still need the big mechs need to keep moving, so we do need to keep out of the firing range of those guns. So
yeah, and you will be able to. You'll be able to access this facility without being in any danger of those large guns. If you jump up there, maybe not. But yeah, there's no way that they can hit you if you just kind of make your way around the path and into the facility.
Well, then we humbly make our path. What do you think?
Yep.
Great, Kadesh.
Katash believes we should attack this base as loudly as possible in order to provide a distraction for our friend.
I think our approach might be a distraction anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, well, and to that point, as you kind of get to the entrance of the facility, you realize that this is like sort of a large hangar, right? Like this is where they would bring large vehicles out, maybe troop transports, whatever. And actually, you see that there is a road that leads off somewhere, further out into the jungle, and that is cleared on either side. So this looks like this might be, a main area where supplies would come in, other than from the air with a transport ship. And so you guys can all easily fit in here, but I would imagine as Haas kind of goes in, kind of cloaked from the radio, signals and all that. There isn't any active opposition right here. In fact, it seems as though the facility is going into lockdown. So you don't see a lot of soldiers kind of running around and trying to come and actively find you. Quite the opposite. They are going to certain stations. And you're able to go into kind of a cargo or a room, like an office, off of the main sort of cargo area here, which you now realize this is. It's kind of like a warehouse. And sort of off to your left, there's this large like freight elevator that would bring you up into the higher levels. And to your right, you're in this office. And as you go in, you can see that this is like there is a computer terminal in here, and this place has been abandoned. There are no people in here whatsoever. So what are you gonna do?
No people in the cargo area, but
right, yeah, this cargo area, this office, this whole sort of level seems to be there seem to be no people in here.
I want to jack into the computer using my suit's thing and do a reconnaissance of the base through their cameras.
Okay. And so are you going to sort of use reconnaissance or sabotage?
Well, right now reconnaissance, because I want to see what's there, because I can't sabotage unless I know what's there.
Right. Okay. So in this case, go ahead and make an access roll using interface.
Okay, so...
And even though reconnaissance says make an assessment.
Are you kidding me? 6.
A 6?
Yeah, so I don't learn anything.
No, and in fact, you're locked out of the system, and you it sort of forces you out. The sort of software defenses kick in, and all of the lights in this part of the facility turn off. And of course the klaxons are still going, rah, 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 but all of the doors start shutting, like zoom, zoom, zoom. You can quickly get back out into the hallway because you kind of sense what's happening here. But then all of a sudden, you sort of see, the facility is starting to fill with gas. Now, you're not too worried about it because you're in a sealed suit. And this seems to be like this would be a deterrent against biological, but it is starting to fill with gas and the lights are turned off.
My suit isn't sealed. It's plated, but it's not sealed.
Oh, that's right. It isn't. And your actual human does not have a sealed suit either, right?
Correct.
Okay. So then, yes, this is worse for you than it would be for your companions. Yeah, this is a noxious gas that's starting to mess with your mind a little bit.
I need to try and get out of this. There's the elevator, but that goes up to where?
Presumably up to the landing pad and whatever is on that level of the facility.
Guys, I got to get out of this gas. I got to get out of it fast.
Oh, so now you're talking to us? Thank you.
Jump jets.
Okay.
Wonderful time to find out that the gas is flammable. And just huge conflagration goes up around the whole room.
Yep.
And we other tiny giant hangar down there. I'd like to think about where would some kind of research facility probably be in such a facility, because, well, I'm a scientist by education, so I probably could deduce where they would put their most valuable and critical labs in this facility.
Yeah, absolutely. And you actually would know that where you are now is really just kind of a cargo area. that leads up to the sort of landing pad. That is sort of the main administration part of this facility, but the main research part would be kind of back in and then sort of on the upper levels of the mountain. That's where the real business would take place. So you guys will essentially have to traverse up a level, kind of through the facility, and then kind of up another level to really get to where you expect the doctor and his staff and research facility would be.
Okay, what's the most direct way there?
Well, without knowing the layout, because apparently our specialist can't access the information, the only way you can think to go right now is up the elevator. It seems the only other way out other than where you came in.
Have I gotten any contact from my informants yet?
So they found this. They have entered the base, but when the they didn't continue on into the facility because yes, you actually got the notification that the rest of the people were running. They were leaving this area. They were fleeing back into the facility, and your informants had stopped because they started to meet. Or not meet, but they started to observe too much opposition for them to handle. There were a number of squads of these things, these super soldiers. Yeah. So they're in the facility, but they're kind of hiding, waiting for you guys to get there.
Okay. You, or should I go first? Or can we both go using the elevator?
So you can enter the elevator. It's big enough for all of you guys to stand there. The only problem that you see though is when you get there, it seems like it's powered down. Like the defense systems have shut everything down on this level. So you're basically on this platform looking up this basically huge elevator shaft. But right now, if you push the button, it doesn't do anything.
I've got to get out.
Problem.
I'm
climbing it.
Jet tic-tac up to the top of the thing.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah. So Leopold, you start kind of just climbing up.
Climbing. Yeah.
Yep. And you see.
No matter what, I crash on the way up.
Yeah, that's fine. You're just kind of like, between your brute strength and maybe you have some kind of gear or climbing kit or whatever, you're just big giant thing just brute forcing his way up this shaft, and kind of as a juxtaposition to that, you see a much smaller, kind of like a super jump, Mario style, bloom bloom bloom, up the shaft as well. And Katash, do you just kind of fire your jets and go up the shaft as well?
Yeah,
or?
I suppose so.
Yeah.
Is there anything else in this room that looks like it might be useful for?
Not really. I mean, it's cargo manifests and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay. In that case, I'll follow them up.
Okay. So you make it up to the next level. Haas, you do first, and you get to the sort of door there, and it's not like your typical elevator door. It's just one of those like sort of chain link fence kind of things. Facilitating large. Moving things coming out with cargo and whatever. So you kind of open that and you peer out, and you're actually on the outside of the facility again. Like this basically brings you to the landing port, but you see, or landing pad, but you see on the other side, if you were to traverse the landing pad, there's another large door. Presumably that leads into the rest of the facility. But right now you're kind of exposed. Well, you would be exposed if you take another step.
And the guns are up there.
Yeah. Now again, these are guns that are again meant for point defense, for aerial defense, but yes, they are up here.
So they're not going to be of use if we were to turn them around and aim them at the door.
Possibly. I mean, you could certainly try to do that. Yeah, but you realize these are big, right? These are meant to destroy starships, so. What kind of damage are they going to do? Yeah.
So not really point defense, but like base defense.
Yeah, exactly. Like this is to prevent an aerial bombardment.
Oh, so again, the things on Hoth, those big round things that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and don't forget, we might need some traction from here,
Yeah.
and those guys prefer not to get shot.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, I mean, I gotta try and get into the system again to try and get those doors open and to try and run sabotage.
Is there any other like resistance visible from the landing pad?
You see one figure just kind of standing out on the landing pad. It actually looks like it, not like in the middle of it, but like it kind of came out of the facility, and it's just sort of standing there, like its head down. It doesn't appear to have any weapons or whatever. It just looks like a human, and it's just kind of shambling and sort of just standing there. It looks all disoriented.
Hmm.
Is it safe to go with the assumption that we've entirely blown the stealth?
Well, so the base, the people here know that somebody is trying to infiltrate the base.
Yeah. You might still be able to sneak around. We definitely can't though.
Right.
Our brother Leopold, I just remembered that our hull busters are made for busting hulls.
Yes.
And how thick are the doors?
Oh yeah, I thought if you are not able to open in a more technically expertise way, we might just blast them.
I say we give it a shot. Let's try and make up some lost time.
Pretty sure the breaching tag does specifically reference reinforced structures.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
Starships and reinforced structures.
Yep. So you're
Yep.
looking across the landing pad at the doors that presumably lead into the facility, and you're thinking, "Fuck it, we're just gonna blast our way in."
That's pretty. It's scary how good you are at reading minds.
Alrighty. So yeah. So that's fine. Keep in mind that again, there is this sort of just figure standing out there. But yeah, if you want to fire a couple of rockets at that door to blow it up, you can do that. You don't even need to roll.
That is, Brother Leopold. Are you joining in the fireworks celebration?
When he gets here.
Yeah, I suppose I think a bit longer until I'm at the landing pad. But meanwhile, what was the other figure there? What did you say?
It's far enough away that you can't necessarily make out any specific features. It looks sort of weirdly shaped, but it looks like this human that's kind of hunched over a little bit, and it's actually its back is to you. It looks like it came out of the door. Like it would have shut the door, kind of come out, backed out, and then it's kind of just standing there with its back to you right now.
Okay, it looks like a mech. Which size about?
No, it looks like a man, just like a normal human. Not the
Oh,
8 foot. Yeah, not the 8 foot super soldier type. This just looks like a normal kind of guy. It's just weirdly shaped. Like something isn't quite right about it.
Yeah. Maybe we should talk to him.
Yeah, I think I just get up and approach him.
Okay, and so
Sure.
See what happens.
as Haas is sort of warming up his missiles, and then you see, these guys kind of, oh, let's talk to the guy.
Yeah.
The two aren't mutually exclusive.
Right. Okay.
Hello there, over there. Hello.
So as soon as you sort of exit the room that you're in, and you make your way out onto the landing pad, immediately you start getting pelted with gunfire. Now it's not like piercing your armor. I mean, these guys are not equipped to handle you. However, you are definitely taking fire, and this thing now kind of turns around and looks at you, and you see that this thing is just this horror of flesh and metal just stitched and welded together, just pain incarnate, essentially. And it looks at you with these dead eyes, just kind of boring through your canopy, and you see this thing. It has no weapons, but it kind of starts shambling towards you. And as that is happening, you see the doors to the facility go and for a split second you can see movement in there, and then all of a sudden, just pouring out of the doors are probably 50 more things just like this. And at that point, they
Firing
start running at you.
firing hullbusters right into of them.
All right,
And,
no
and
problem.
how do all those things that are running out respond to the rocket that's exploding as they're coming through the doors?
So that's a good question. You can fire the rocket. They are not reacting in any way. They just like the first wave of them just gets blown away, right? And pieces of flesh and metal and blood just go flying everywhere. Meanwhile, gunfire is still pelting down on you. Some of it's hitting these creatures, and they don't seem to even it doesn't even seem to phase them. But now the grenades are starting to come down, and that's a little bit scary because those things could definitely hurt you. So you've
Okay,
probably taken out about a good 10 or 12 of these guys.
Where's the shooting from above coming from?
You can't necessarily tell. It's all around you, but it's basically because you're on a mountain and there's all these crags and whatever, like whether this is from inside the facility or the actual natural surroundings, all you know is it's above you. I mean, you can see kind of gunfire and you can see, grenades being launched at you, but
Okay, so let's get inside in the direction of the where those guys came from. We fired some missiles into this entrance, so I suppose the doors are breached right now.
yeah, the doors are open and these just abominations are just spewing out.
Okay, so well, what do you think? Assault?
Assault.
Yeah.
Okay, moving forward at my best speed, which is not that great.
All right, so you're just kind of
Yeah.
all right.
I guess I've got point. I keep just opening up with the rockets ahead of us to keep trying to clear the path.
Yeah, definitely. So so you're specifically firing at these creatures on your level and not trying to take out any of the opposition. Okay,
Because I
yeah.
figure once we get through the door, we don't have to worry about the guys above us.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So you guys are kind of firing and
Yeah.
you just see the behemoth that is Brother Leopold just when I imagine at one point and then just keeps going and at one point amongst the destruction the blood and the flesh and the pieces just flying everywhere, the gunfire pelting you and the grenades kind of blowing up all around you, a couple of these things, probably about 4 or 5 of them actually manage to latch onto you, Brother Leopold, and they're kind of climbing up the outside of your carapace, trying to kind of access any vulnerable points that they might find.
Okay, I'd like to use the plasma torch to scrape them off.
Okay, so you're kind of taking this plasma torch. Now keep in mind that this thing isn't necessarily a precision tool. You might hurt yourself a little bit doing this, but and they're climbing up all on different parts of you as well. So
I do have faith this will work well.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
I have faith that this will work well.
Okay.
I trust in my ability.
All right. So in this case, go ahead and face adversity using metal.
Okay. Oh my. Let's roll it. This is 7.
Okay. So you manage to kind of, fry one of these things off, and you just kind of burn this whole, it's just charred wreckage that falls off your carapace. But as you do so, you actually do end up kind of cutting a little bit into your body. So why don't you go ahead and brace for impact?
Okay.
Do you have armor as part of your character? I don't know if we actually did anything.
Armor
That
of
was
the
like
character,
Leopold's
armor
whole
of
thing.
the mech. What do you want? The mech has of course armor.
Yeah, but I mean, did you take like plated or whatever? I think he's got. Oh, actually,
Yes.
no. What do they have? Like 5 armor or something?
I think.
I have +8. I
Plus
have
8.
yep.
The 5 plus the 3. Okay,
I
yeah.
have
So
plated and reinforced.
perfect.
This is why I'm so slow.
Yeah. So brace for impact plus 8 for your armor.
Okay, I roll it.
Yep.
This is 18.
Nice. All right.
I think that lowers the severity by 2 then.
Yeah, it does. So let's see. You don't take
plus
very much.
if this blowtorch isn't a breaching weapon, that it automatically lowers the severity by 1 because it's got reinforced.
It is a breaching weapon by very
it is?
definition. Yeah. So you actually, it's just a minor injury at this point. Yeah. So just mark that down. But yeah, you managed to blast him off. Now, you actually can sense behind you that one of them is basically on your where the neck of your mech would be, and it's trying to like punch its way in, and it's not having a lot of success. But you do know that there are some kind of gaps in the plates behind you, and another one is kind of climbing up your arm, the opposite arm of the one that had the plasma torch.
How do you call the minor injury?
So you just kind of
minor
mark
damage to
it
the
down on your sheet as a minor injury.
Yeah. So, but what kind?
Oh,
of
so
minor injury?
it was like sort of a scorch marks or like a little bit of blast, plasma scarring on your arm.
Okay.
Yep. Not enough to like disable it or anything like that, but it's you got some cosmetic damage.
Okay. I actually might need some help here. The Great Kadash, could you please pick up those messy guys from my neck?
All right then. I suppose I could probably just remove these guys with my hands, couldn't I?
Yeah. So like if you want to
Probably
rush
would've been safer
in.
than waving around an energy sword.
Yeah, that's fine. If you want to kind of rush in and grab them, try to grab them off of him, you can. Now, before we do that, I want to be sensitive to your guys' time, so I know we're coming up on 11 o'clock here. I can certainly play for a little bit longer, so let me know what you guys want to do. I can try to wrap it up rather quickly if you need me to.
I'm good for a little bit longer.
Yep.
It's morning over here, so I can keep going for any amount of time, really.
Okay.
I'm awake.
Okay. All right, great. So, yeah, so that's great. So you can run up and sort of attempt to grab these things off of him, and they're not that difficult. I mean, your size, it's easy enough to do. You kind of just like scrape on his back.
Yeah.
Now, but you do realize that there are still some coming out of this door, and you can see the blasts of missiles just scattering them everywhere. But it seems like they keep coming. And finally, as you manage to get the last of them off, of Brother Leopold, finally the barrage of these just horrible creatures stops, and you guys would have to sort of wade through this carnage of body parts and metal.
So what about that other thing that was there?
Well, that was one of these things that's been destroyed.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I misunderstood.
So, yeah. So, and at the same time, all the fire from above stops. Basically, and you can sense they're kind of retreating further into the facility.
I think Lyle comes in over the comms and basically says, if we disable these anti-aircraft guns, we could bring in the shuttle and bring the rest of our disciples here.
Yeah. we need to do that, but you noticed the firing stopped. I feel a disturbance in the resisting force here. So what's their plan?
As if thousands of guns fired and were suddenly silent.
Yes.
Is there some kind of terminal inside, somewhere, so that our infiltration expert could get another try to get more information?
Because he's had so much luck so far.
Yeah, presumably yes. I mean, you know, if he were, I know he had been sort of standing back firing rockets to clear the, but yeah, if you kind of streak across the facility and you know enter the building.
Oh no, I was clearing the way as I was moving forward.
Oh, okay, so
I
that's
was-
fine. Yep, yep. So you kind of make your way in, and yeah, at this point you've basically come into almost what would look like. So if there was like any public that would be allowed into this facility, or anyone who maybe visitors, family, whatever, this is sort of like an atrium area. And so it's this sort of, it's actually this like circular room, and right in the middle it would be like a reception area kind of. There seem to be several computer terminals, and then all around the outside there's, you know, chairs, benches, whatever. So this, you know, yeah, there are facilities, and then kind of there are a number of doors, probably about 10 different doors, you know, ringing this room, going to different parts of the facility.
All right. Well, I want to log in again, and I guess reconnaissance.
Okay. Yep. So same thing. Go ahead and oh, what is the move again? Access with interface. Yep.
Hold on, I have to clear it. Come on.
I would have thought if he's just trying to gather information, it would just be a assessment with interface.
Well, except that
Yeah.
these facilities don't just allow anybody. You have to
Oh,
basically
well, yeah,
break
that's
in
fair.
to get. Yeah.
7, 8.
Okay. Yeah. So you manage to kind of hack your way into the system, and you're able to kind of pull up a blueprint device, right? Just kind of showing the facility layout and where everything is, and you realize that, you know, kind of the third door on your left, that would be the most direct route to the research facilities, where the doctor would most likely be located. And in fact, you do see that there's sort of like a tracking. It almost is like, you can imagine it kind of as like they have tracking chips on all of their important personnel, and so it shows where he is. So he is within the facility. And you see other names, you know, they don't really mean anything to you. There are other presumably scientists and whatever down that wing. But you also, you kind of realize that you've tripped some sort of
Of course I have.
system, you know, and that's happening. But you also realize at this point that you could probably plug in your little spike drive there and start downloading information if you wanted to.
Yeah, yes, please. I think that's exact. Once again, you're reading minds.
All right. So as you do that, you realize that, again, you know what's going on. Like the facility is basically saying intruders in the atrium, and you can see these like little. It looks like it's orders being sent out. And what you realize is that it's mobilizing squads of those soldiers to try to kind of block the entrance to the room. And you also notice that a squad of soldiers is actually going the opposite way, right? They are heading in the direction that ultimately you guys want to go to, towards the research facility and the scientists.
Do I do Dodger's sons care about this guy, or do they care about the data?
You tell me.
I mean, I neither, for the sake of what I was hired to do. I like that. It didn't say anything about a rescue mission, and for the sake of my family, of Dodger's sons, it's more important that we get and keep a copy of this thing. So as soon as I'm done grabbing the data that I'm trying to grab, I want to roll a sabotage roll.
Okay. Absolutely. And so yeah, so you've done that, and you've kind of downloaded all the pertinent information. I mean, it's grabbing files, like it's just downloading everything. So that's fine. So you unplug the thing, and then you go ahead and yeah, go ahead and make your sabotage roll. And
And what?
so I think this just says roll plus stat. So I guess it's just roll plus plus interface.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. If he's doing it by computer.
12! Finally! 6 and 5 plus 1.
Awesome. So what is the object of your sabotage? What specifically are you trying to do?
Well, I'm assuming that the station has internal defense mechanisms. You know, point-in-place guns, and they've shown that they have gas and that kind of stuff. Activating every one of those all at once in every room but where we are and on the landing pad. And I'm also assuming it has its internal power supply, which is also miraculously deciding that it wants to generate more power than the station can actually handle.
Okay. So yeah, so that's fine. So you realize that the defense systems within the facility itself they're not guns and gas. It's the soldiers. But you can absolutely activate the sort of reactor, the power reactor. And you're starting to overload. It's starting to overload. And at this point, everything is power.
I've got a spectacular failure. Yep. So then, to up that, if there aren't any of the gun emplacements or whatever, lock down every room that has folks in them.
Okay.
As it's starting to build up the power, it's got to vent, I don't know, gases or whatever. So start venting it into all the rooms where these people are, and then turn around, guys. We need to get going.
Yes, so where to the doctor? Because I need to I see in this direction I'm moving, and in the direction where the facility, the labs are. Any door that's locked, I cut open by the plasma torch.
Except I would have been the one to have seen the map of where the facilities are, right?
Yes, you would have.
I can't find them. They've got blips for what look like all the scientists everywhere, but I'm not seeing the guy you mentioned. He's not here. Maybe they evac'd him already.
Are we aware that you've set this place to blow up?
Then I need to get a sweep search through all the labs, starting with the next one available.
And actually, Matthew, to answer your question, yes, you are aware because there's something coming over the intercom saying, power no power containment, exit the facility. So you realize he did something.
Yeah.
I don't think I mentioned it, but I wrote down as my mission to just destroy this place. So
that he's enough to let us acquire the artifact and at least one of those scientists, preferably the one whose name I have. So, I'm looking for this scientist.
Yeah, and keep in mind, Haas, you're under no obligation to help Leopold at this point. However, telling him where the doctor is doesn't do anything for you one way or another. So it's totally up to you.
Except it opens all of the vents that have been being pumped full of all this stuff.
Well, all he's asking you is where he needs to go.
Yeah.
So.
Second door on the left, straight on till dawn.
Yeah.
Okay. Walking right there, cutting the door open. I cannot open easily.
Yeah, that's fine. You basically take your plasma torch and you're like. And then I imagine you just put your foot up and just kick it down.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're in the hallway, and you kind of, being a scientist, these layouts are standard, right? You know that there's going to be sort of labs and offices and whatever, but that the main scientists, especially in sort of a lockdown situation, would be in a sort of contained, sealed lab at the far end of the corridor. So you'd be making your way down there. meantime, all you know that the facility, there's only probably a few minutes before everything is gonna kind of go kablooey.
Yeah, but I have faith.
What was our exfil plan? Do we send a coded signal up to orbit for them to send somebody down?
Yeah, that would make sense.
I think so.
Although you did tell me earlier that you activated all of the facility's defense systems, which would include the guns. I don't believe you guys actually disabled the point defense
No,
guns.
I was going to do that.
But if we've got sufficient control over the systems,
Well, yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. But as it stands right now, you've
okay.
activated those weapons. So yeah.
So don't cross the streams. Excellent point. I disable the defense, those external defenses.
All right. So that's fine. Yeah, you turn off the guns, and then you guys send up a kind of a signal, say we need exfiltration.
Brother Leopold, you got 5 minutes before the place blows up.
Okay. I'm looking for the good doctor.
Okay. And it's like if you've ever imagined, like a really heavy guy doing, just trying to run as hard as he can, that's what this is. Look, and like his shoulders scraping, either side of the hallway because this is not made for a guy this big, and which is slowing him down even more. But he's like, just relentlessly pursuing his goal, and finally you get to the one door at the back of the hallway, and you know that what this thing is going to do is basically there's going to be almost like an airlock on a ship, right? This door will lead to then another unit, which would basically be a decontamination room, and then that would lead you into the actual facility in which the doctor would be working, presumably.
Okay. Regarding decontamination, I don't care. I will open.
Okay. Now, what I'm going to say in this case is because you're pressed for time and you realize that just taking your time with the plasma torch probably will take too long, you may need to do this quickly. So go ahead and make a face adversity roll for me.
Okay.
And I think use... You know what? Use expertise in this case because you're using your knowledge to kind of figure out the quickest way to dismantle these doors.
Okay. Then I roll it. It's an 8.
Okay, perfect. So you basically manage to cut through the door in a way fairly quickly that you kick it down and the door kind of goes flying into the back of the facility. But what happens is it kind of wedges in the way a little bit so that to get to the other door, you're going to have to kind of take a minute or two to like either smash this thing out of the way or you're going to have to, it's basically at this point it's getting harder and harder for you to move. So what are you going to do at this point?
Taking a few steps, running start, and simply powering through.
Okay, no problem. So yeah, you're like, and I imagine the momentum would actually slam you right into the door, and it definitely like bends on its hinges, like kind of warps, and you can hear this kind of like terrified voices from the other side. You can also hear, they're coming in. Breach is imminent. Get ready, man. Get ready.
Dr. Kensu, is some doctors available here? If you want to live, I have a proposal to make for a new job.
And for a minute, it's almost like everything goes silent, and then you hear this. Yes. What is your proposal?
I take you out of here, and you stay here and you die.
And he says, well, how would you get in the door? Everything is locked down.
Don't discuss it. Please enter. I open one of the plates leading to my built-in cryo chamber. Simply enter this cryo chamber and all will be well.
And you can hear this kind of struggle going on, and then from the inside, and the kind of the last thing you hear is "Don't even think about it," and then you hear this, and
Uh, okay,
what are you gonna do?
someone shoots, actually.
Yeah, you
Could
hear
I
shooting
step
on the
into
other
it
side.
could I step into it and save the doctor?
Well, you're on the other side of the door. The door is still kind of closed at this
Ah,
point. You're just
okay.
hearing shooting from the other side.
I'm not through the door. Oh, so, okay. I suppose I went through the door. Okay.
Okay, so then yeah, if so you kind of bust through the door, and what happens is as you bust through the door, it kind of lands on one of these, sort of black carapaced soldiers. But you actually see that the doctor, or who you presume is the doctor, he's a lab coat, has got a gun in his hand, and he's holding it out at another one of these soldiers, who's holding, obviously the pistol back at him, and and the soldier says to him, "Do not attempt to leave, Doctor. You will
Okay, I'm
die one
smacking
way
the
or another."
soldier.
What's that?
I'm smacking the soldier onto a wall.
All right, and he goes just flying into the wall. This would kill a normal man? This one's just knocked out, fortunately, because of his armor. The doctor kind of looks up at you,
Okay,
terrified,
so doctor, please enter this cryo chamber.
and he's like, "But I cannot leave. My life's work. I must take it with me."
Uh, I assure you, you will continue your work. There are other facilities equally staffed and actually probably more comfortable than this one.
And you actually can see this internal struggle on his face, because he really wants to go with you, but he's hesitating, and you're trying to figure this out, and you realize that if he
Oh, mate.
leaves, he can never return to Breckengraph Corporation. They will kill him if they ever have the opportunity.
Yes, but we will protect you. We will protect you, you know?
And he realizes that he can either go with you and possibly live, or he's definitely going to die if he stays here. So he kind of takes your offer, um, and jumps in your cryo unit, and you kind of start making your way out, as fast as you can. Um, Katash, your crew kind of has let you know, your disciples have let you know that they have exited the facility. They are waiting undercover, like near the landing pad, and they actually recommend that you get there as quick as you can, because they don't believe it's safe to stay up there. So they're going to want to kind of help getting down to where it might be safer.
Yeah, all right. I guess I'll go with them then.
All right.
If anyone asks where I'm going, I probably don't even answer.
Yeah, so you basically kind of come out, and as you exit onto the landing pad, you kind of see your disciples come over. You kind of hook onto you, and I imagine you might, like, take your jets, lift off and just kind of go down, down into the bottom level, into the jungle somewhere, safely away from that nasty pool.
Yep.
And Haas, what would you be doing at this point?
My ass is waiting for the shuttle to come and pick us up to get off. I've had a successful mission.
All right. So yeah, you've done the same thing. You realize that they can't come to the landing pad because the whole thing's going to blow up. So you've kind of gone down into the jungle, found a clearing.
Hang on. Am I aware that Haas downloaded all this information, or are you keeping that a secret?
Keep it a secret.
Yeah, I would think the only thing you would know is that he set the facility to self-destruct, essentially.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. And so, as this all happens, you guys are kind of, you two are kind of looking at the facility, and you finally, you kind of see this explosion deep within the mountain.
Although, can I throw something out?
Yeah.
And he probably could make an assessment roll to realize maybe that it took, that maybe I was typing or whatever, and
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to try and analyze that.
Okay. Yeah, go for it. So yeah, make
Cool.
that roll plus expertise.
Oh, great. My worst stat. Oh my god. Okay, I rolled a 10. That makes it a 9.
Okay. So you realize that it wouldn't take that long to just set, to kind of, make the core reactor explode. See, something else must have been going on, and you also remember him kind of plugging something in, but you don't remember like that tech that you guys met earlier. He didn't give you guys anything, so clearly he was doing something. But what you realize at this point is that his faction has a very specific objective here, and if you push too far, that faction might not take too kindly to that. So you realize he's up to something, but you don't quite know what it is.
I have no loyalty to his faction, so yeah, I'm willing to push too far. It's become slightly difficult since I can't talk, but
Yeah, but I mean, you have your crew around you.
It's not a question of loyalty to my faction. It's a question to how pissed off my faction might get.
Yeah.
Oh, I know that, but it's my mission here was to destroy everything in this base. Because us machine intelligence don't like this organic study all that much.
Okay, so what are you gonna do?
I'm thinking I'm just like, you probably hear some really loud like electronic screaming. That sounds. It's probably like you can't recognize any.
Nice. And then would you have like Lyle say something to him, or what? What would you be doing, do you think, specifically?
While this is going on, I'm segmenting into. Oh, can you not hear us?
Let's see. I can't type today. There we go. So we'll see what happens. Oh, are you back?
You back?
Yep.
Oh, good.
So
Okay.
while we're waiting for dust off, I'm segmenting off into different parts the different things that I got. The quote unquote recipe for this thing, the financial data, the PR data, all that stuff into separate encrypted files stored in my system.
Oh, okay. Like within the mech's internal computer?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Ooh. Where was I at?
And I keep the press release files and only the press release files on the spike.
Okay. Yeah. And so, Katash, you would realize, like, kind of pressing a little bit, you had made this loud sort of, electronic screech, and you can tell that he's doing
something. It would be
something.
the electronic equivalent of like a drill sergeant shouting at someone.
Okay. Yep. And did you try to sort of use some sort of translation equipment, or are you going to have your disciple talk to him, or what?
That would be, Lyle would be translating for him.
Okay. So what's Lyle saying to him?
I don't know exact words. I'm not good at making up rants very quickly, but it's something along the lines of like, what are you hiding from me? What was your true mission here?
Yep.
That sort of thing. I'm trying to press you for what's going on.
Yep.
Your job was to destroy them. My job was to embarrass them. I know what they're planning for their for their media releases, for the screen sheet releases for the next 6 months. My family can get on top of it, get ahead of it, and make sure they look real stupid.
My job was not to destroy them. My job was to destroy their research, their projects, everything they're working on. I can't allow any of it to escape this facility.
Oh, none of this has to do with the facility, and I flip it over to them. In fact, to the contrary, you'll find that this facility isn't mentioned in any of their press releases. They don't want anyone to know that it's here. This is their marketing stuff. This is their brand new releases of Soylent Green. Just imagine, we come out a week ahead of their announcement with Breckenridge is working on a new food product destined to save the universe, except it's poison and made out of small children. I can do more with this stuff than anyone can do with any of the rest of it.
Right. I'd like to see if I believe him. To sort of see if I believe that what he's showing me is actually all of the information he has.
Okay. So yeah.
All that's left on the spike that I flipped them was the PR stuff that I just said was on there.
Mm-hmm. I suppose if you're trying to kind of sense if he is lying to you.
Yeah, basically.
All right. I think we get to do opposed roles now, which is fun because you don't normally do that. So why don't we do this? Oh, geez. Yeah, why don't we do this? Katash, you go ahead and make an assessment roll. And Haas, you go ahead and do get involved, but with the intention of trying to sort of
Smart. I like that.
prevent your
plus influence.
Yeah, you guys will both roll plus influence.
11.
Oh, I'm not going to be able to beat that. Yeah.
Well, give it a shot. See what happens.
Get involved. You just have to succeed and pull that down to a partial success.
Right.
Oh, no. No, I failed big time. I got a 3.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so you're like, yeah, so all I found was a press release. Like, there really wasn't anything else on the computer systems. You know.
No. All I pulled that was of interest were, like, press releases.
Yeah.
I don't say it was all that I found. I mean, I made the
right.
For reference, what did you actually get? Like, everything? Like, all of their research data and stuff?
Yeah.
Say that. I didn't hear what you said. I'm sorry.
Just for the sake of understanding this, what did you actually get?
Are you asked out of character? What did I take?
Out of character, yeah.
I
got
got
the game, don't worry.
the blueprints / recipe, whatever we're calling it, for the assassination thing. I got their press releases, their marketing plans, and I said their financial data, the buys and sells that they're planning. I think that was it.
But you do have the actual blueprints, the actual research data. Right. Okay, so what's the result of my success then, I guess?
Well, you know that I was lying about it, but you still don't know what I got.
Right.
The only physical evidence is on the data spike or whatever it's called, and the only digital evidence that you have a hold of is the press release stuff on the data spike, or that Lionel has, or whomever.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
before you're able to even kind of piece that together, you start feeling this tremor in the ground, and you kind of look behind you, and you see basically the mountain is just starting to come apart, and there's this massive explosion, and before the whole thing kind of explodes on you, you see this like figure kind of being propelled with fire, sort of, and rock just pushing him over the cliff, and you realize that that, man, the gods must be with Brother Leopold, because somehow he managed to get out of this facility. He is careening right down. Looks like he's going to fall right into that pool because he's basically propelled by this explosion.
What I counted on. I've counted on falling into the pool, find a solution for my hullbusters, and I'm firing them so that they make a certain kind of channel to lessen the actual impact. So I'm firing them in a row to in my direction of movement. So if I splash into this, I will be drawn along this impromptu channel. So let's see how this works out.
Do you know Do you know the XKCD, the webcomic?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the author put out his book, something like What If? There's actually a chapter in there specifically about could you fire enough machine guns at the ground to take off? So it's hilarious that you're doing. I just finished reading the book. Regardless of whether you succeed at this, you need to pick up the book. I think it's free for the Kindle and take a look because the specific chapter is in there.
Yep.
Nice. All right. So shit. I guess that roll face adversity, and
It's too cool. It's too cool. Is there any way we can get involved to help him?
I'm
yeah.
thinking I'm probably standing there shocked as this flaming mech just goes flying over my head.
Yeah. I mean, how? So like, how would you imagine that you'd be able to get involved?
I'm kidding. It's just too cool for him not to succeed at this.
Yeah.
We shoot him, and the momentum pushes him over the pool. Will this work?
Yeah. That. I mean, yeah. You could do that. Potentially. Yeah. Roll the face adversity plus metal, Brother
Okay.
Leopold, to see if you can sort of target this specific
Nah,
action.
I don't think. Maybe if I had an impact weapon or something,
Okay,
it would
roll
work,
back.
but I don't think so.
And I've rolled a 9, so this is a partial success, I think.
Yeah. So you managed to sort of, you know,
Successfully, you roll, but you crush the scientist.
yeah, well, so yeah,
Oh, that
the
would just be
rockets are kind of, and the first couple kind of blow the, you know, the goo, kind of this sort of noxious, nasty water up out, and then the rest are kind of making this like almost like this boiling channel. And you splash into the water amidst all this kind of debris and whatever, and you immediately sink right down to the bottom because you know you're just so heavy. And you kind of make it down to the bottom, and you realize that in the bottom of this channel is like this sort of it almost looks like a large like pipe or whatever, and it's got this, you know, seal on it, but you also are actually taking some damage. So you've taken a major wound at this point. Like there's only going to be a matter of a few minutes probably before your suit is going to be breached.
Okay,
So what are you going to do?
should I rest, or do I get the injury anyway?
No, you get the injury anyway. Yeah.
Okay.
Question: Has the shuttle landed?
No, not yet.
Do these shuttles have any sort of grappling, lanyard, tether, whatever?
Not really. These basically what these things are. It's just a massive sort of troop transport, kind of converted for mech or mechanized units. Basically, what you would do is you would get in, and almost like in Star Wars, where like the TIE fighters are docked up against the thing. That's what the mechs would be too.
I was hoping they had some sort of tether that they could drop down from to grab onto. To connect them up to winch.
Yeah.
But
Well, I mean, he doesn't necessarily need a winch, but yeah. But also keep in mind that it would be metal, right? So.
There is a kind of hatch on the bottom.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's sort of it almost looks like it would be like a huge, you know, pipe, right? But it's got like a concrete kind of plug almost on it.
Fire into it. Maybe it'll drain the thing.
Actually, that's my thought. I'm firing into this plug.
Okay. I'm not going to make you roll for it because there's no, you know, real chance you're going to miss. You kind of fire at it, and your rockets seem to almost go more slowly than they would normally, but it does impact, and for a minute the water kind of is this concussive force as it's pushed back against you, but you do see that it breaches a little hole in the concrete. Then you fire a couple of more missiles, and it does manage to blow a hole in this pipe, and you do actually see the water level starting to drain out of this thing. You don't know where it's going, but it certainly is starting to drain out of this man-made pool.
Okay, all the while starting climbing up the edge of the pool.
Yeah. And because of the fact that you have taken some damage and it's sort of slippery and whatever, go ahead and make a face adversity roll for me versus or with physique.
Okay, let's see. This is this is only a 4.
Okay. So you managed
Do we see
to.
them trying to climb up?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Were you? Probably not, because you were kind of more focused on trying to not give away what was going on with you. You're trying to hide that information.
But there was an explosion in the water or something?
Yeah, I mean, presumably you would know that something's happening. He would still be submerged at this point, though. The water hasn't drained that fast. So he's still trying to climb out.
When we see him start coming up, or when I see him start coming up, I want to do a get involved to help pull him out of the water.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah. So, yeah. So, Brother Leopold, at this point, you've now taken a severe injury. Like you're again not quite breached, but you've got like pieces of your suit basically eroding away. You're still contained for now, but you kind of fall, you slip and fall backwards, back down to the bottom of the thing. You realize without climbing out, you probably won't get out before this thing breaches your.
Okay, doing my best.
All right. So yeah, go ahead and do another face adversity with physique for me.
Okay, let's roll it. Now I got a 9. This is a partial success.
All right, excellent. Yeah, and so you're kind of climbing your way up, right? And as you climb your way up, the acid finally does manage to kind of burn this little sort of hole through you, and you don't take any damage to your pilot per se, but as the explosions are continuing to rock, you actually the doctor gets jostled against the thing and cracks, and he's about to fall out of the hole in the canopy.
Oh, I'd like to save Doctor. This is more important than me getting damaged.
Okay, absolutely. So one more time, go ahead and make face adversity. This time, though, it'll be metal because you're trying to grab him. And I imagine it would almost be like the pilot inside your mech that would probably be trying to do it, right?
Okay.
Yep.
So with metal, I get a 10. Exactly.
Yeah, okay. So you manage to kind of almost grab him by the collar, one hand on the control stick, the other one, like, no, doctor, no. And you kind of pull him back in safely and manage to kind of climb your way up, and just as you're kind of breaking the surface, you kind of see above you this this fire, and then you realize it's the jump jets of Haas, and he kind of like leans down and puts his arms down and kind of helps pull you the rest of the way up onto the shore. And Haas, you for a minute are a little bit worried because he's heavy, and you're like, oh no, I don't know if this was a good idea, but you managed to kind of get him up, and yeah, now you're like sort of on the shore there, and you kind of managed to make your way back into kind of the cleared area where you guys found in the jungle. At this point, basically the whole mountain has collapsed in on itself, and you just see these gouts of fire and rock just exploding everywhere, and all of this gas is just kind of going everywhere into the atmosphere, and you can hear this terrible screaming from inside the facility. And you guys would see these creatures, these abominations that you had saw before. Like there's more of them, and they're just burning, and they're just trying to do anything they can to get out of here. But they are all consumed by flames. And as this scene is happening, you hear this really loud sort of, and then you see a couple more explosions as missiles, large, anti sort of bunker buster missiles kind of blow up the rest of this facility, and your troop ship comes down and lands in the clearing. And some of the the technicians kind of get out, and they're like, go, 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 and they're kind of searching, trying to get you guys into the thing as quickly as possible. And one of the soldiers kind of jumps out and says, quick, we gotta go, we got Breckengraph ships en route trying to get us out of here, we got to get you out of here now.
Stay calm. It will all be well. No problem. Have faith.
Awesome. And I'm going to let you guys narrate sort of like an outro scene, so if you guys want to do that.
Yes, I do need to talk to Mr. Hoss. While I was down there in the toxic pool, there actually was a kind of hatch. And I do consider this actually a vital lesson to be learned. You're supposed to dive until you find something. You don't give up until you actually found it. So I think this is a thing to learn for the future. Keep at it, and everyone mark XP because that was my trigger for XP.
Oh, cool! All right. Nice.
I consider it to be a vital lesson that your fat ass should have jump jets on your mech.
No, it worked perfectly without them.
My out scene is racking up Betty and powering down the pulse blaster and sending 5 different encoded burst messages of the data that I got.
Okay. And Matthew, we are going to end with you. Ultimately, you are not quite sure if you've been successful in your mission or not. You don't believe that he is quite honest with you, but you haven't been able to ascertain. What do you do?
He's hiding something from me.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what.
Yeah.
I think I've probably during the whole sort of extraction sequence, I've been pretty silent because I've just been communicating like in my head with my order of other giant AI lords. Just trying to figure out exactly what they want me to do. And I think probably what they would want me to do is honestly to kill Hoss and make sure this information doesn't get spread out. Because ultimately, even if it turns out you're not hiding something from me, from their perspective, the life of one organic life form is fairly meager compared to the possibility of this weapon being spread throughout the galaxy.
All right, and so I'm going to say that...
Yeah, we're sort of running out of time to actually...
Yeah, I'm going to say that you are not necessarily in a position to do that right now. However, that would be...
That's a teaser for later.
Yeah, something that your character would certainly do if these characters meet up again.
That would be the sequel.
Yeah.
We say like a display in my head that's just like new target, and then Hoss's face appears and all that.
New mission. Target acquired.
Skull and crossbones.
Nice. Awesome.
Well, actually, what he would do as we're flying away and the camera's about to shut down, we've got the scientist, so that wasn't destroyed. He has the suspicion that I've got...
I don't know if I know about the scientist yet.
What's that?
You would eventually, yeah. As you're, I'm sure he would get out of the mech, and you guys would all kind of get out. Well, not you, obviously, because you are the mech, but the other two would get out of their mechs, and and the scientist is there. So yeah, you would definitely know that.
But then, in order to actually wrap up the mission successfully, to make sure everything was destroyed, if you have the capability, if it's in your programming, you would self-destruct to take out everyone and everything that's there as part of the mission.
Or, if not self-destruct, at the very least try to bring down the ship, because that might make sense.
Right.
Do I personally prioritize myself over the mission, or not?
Whether that I can't help with. I'm just saying what makes sense.
Well, you could always join the Order of the Harbingers of Peace, and they would tell you that the mission is important.
Ooh, that's going to require some convincing.
I'm just throwing it out there as one possibility.
It does kind of make sense for me to just destroy everything. I'm not sure if I like that as an ending, though.
Well, why don't we leave that as a bit of a mystery? What is going to happen, next time on Uncharted Worlds?
The very last thing is you see like this kill order come in,
Right.
and then you just see me like maybe ignite my sword, and then cut to black credits.
There you go. Perfect.
Nice.
So I know exactly what happened.
All right, awesome. Well, I'll do my little outro here. I'll stop the broadcast, and then maybe we can chat for a second, and we'll do that whole thing. But thank you guys for playing. That was really fun. I'm really glad that we got the opportunity to kind of test out the vehicle rules and do a little bit more testing of Uncharted Worlds. If anyone ends up watching this, let us know what you think. Let us know what you think about the system. I fully intend to run more Uncharted Worlds. I really like the way the system runs. Just as a note, I did use one of the preview documents that the author Sean created for his upcoming Carta Galaxia book, which is featured in the files of the Google Plus Uncharted Worlds group. So check that out. That has some of the factions, like the Breckengraph faction that was featured. So check that out. Thank you guys again for playing. Anybody watching? This is Sam from Chalice and Chains.
Strong shout out to Sean for Uncharted Worlds.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
so,
absolutely.
space opera powered by the apocalypse. Alrighty.